Hey, hello, what's up, guys? Thank you very much for watching my YouTube video. And then today, yes, I want to talk about my thoughts about learning English again, right? And then, well, with this video, let me start this video by asking you guys a question. Why you are trying to learn English? I mean, I've I've noticed that there's a lot of time, because I've been this is actually my second time trying to learn English, right? Learn to how to speak English, right? And then when I was younger, I was trying real hard to become an English speaker, and then I got a job in which I use English every day, and then I was working for this company like 13 years, right? So I've seen a lot of things, I've seen a lot of English learners in Japan, and then I just wanna share my thoughts about becoming an English speaker in Japan, right? And then one thing I noticed that even though there are people, a lot of Japanese people, think that they want to become an English speaker, right? And then a lot of people start to trying to learn English, speaking in English, right? Trying to how to speak in English, and then even though they started out with that purpose, there's a lot of Japanese English learners tend to switch to trying to study for the test, like such as the ACAN test, or trying to study so that they could take a good and high score on the TOEIC test, right? And then yeah, I fully understand that their needs for that test, because if you have pass the ACAN test, or if you have a high score on the TOEIC test, your life will be easier. And because the companies, when you're trying to find a job, a lot of time that those companies or businesses require you to have or a high score on the TOEIC test, right? That's how things are going right now, and I fully understand that your thoughts, maybe even though if you started to try to learn English, maybe first your purpose is trying to be fluent in English so that you could use English as a communicating tool. But a lot of times the Japanese people tend to this is my feeling, right? Japanese English learners tend to try to study for the test, solely for just to study for the test, because if they can pass it, it's their life will be easier, right? And yes, I fully understand that point, but think about it. English and Japanese is a totally different kind of language, right? So you know it just doesn't work this way, that if you translate in your head and you get automatically you could be able to speak English. No, it's not totally different. And then because that English and Japanese is a totally different kind of language, you have to have totally different set of mind, for one for English and one for Japanese. Otherwise, I don't think that you would be able to speak in English fluently. Yes, maybe some people, some very smart people could do that. Maybe they just keep on studying, like trying to memorize English words and stuff, with the Japanese definitions also, that trying to learn the English grammars. And then maybe if a person is smart enough, they can translate everything in their head, just like this in a split second, and then they can speak English, maybe. But most of people, most of ordinary people, like myself, or most of the Japanese people, they cannot do it. I mean, as I said, English and Japanese is a totally different language, right? So it just doesn't work. It is not that easy to become an English speaker. So as I said, I believe that you have to have a totally different set of mind, or totally different part of the brain. One for the Japanese and one for the English. Otherwise, I don't think there's no way that you could speak English fluently, or a good communicator. Speaking in English, right? So that's my basic idea. So that is why I was keep telling you guys that you need to have this truly real understanding of that in basic English. That means that you could speak, just using that simple English words and then simple like sentence patterns, or just using the simple, you know, English grammar. And at the same time, you could, you have to have this ability to express yourself in many ways, just using the simple English words and sentences, right? So this is the key to become an you know, English speaker. And then, if you want to be a real communicator, or if you want to be good at speaking in English and communicating with other people in English, you have to have this feeling. You have to get this feel of language, English language. Otherwise, you cannot speak very fluently or naturally, so that you could be a good be good communicator in English. Because most of the Japanese people, we took English classes in the high school and in junior high school. So most of the people, are taking English classes at the school, for like 6 years, right? And then that's all of those 6 years. During these 6 years, what we did was that trying to study for the test, right, so that we could pass the entrance exam for like a high school or college. That's how we learn English. That is why little reason why we didn't become an English speaker and after these 6 years, right? So if you try to study for the test, like ACAN test or maybe for the TOEIC test, most Japanese English learners would do is they're trying to use the text for that test, ACAN test or TOEIC test, written in Japanese, right? So that means that you have to keep on continuing, same kind of thing, like we did in the high school or junior high school. And then every time we try to understand English, kind of like translating in our head, and then trying to understand the English, when we listen to English and then translate it into Japanese, and then we understand. And then when I try to say something, we just translate Japanese to in English, right? So if we just continue this, and then if you try to keep on study for the test, most of Japanese people will tend to continue doing that and doing translate in their head or trying to understand the English, by using translating into Japanese. And then this habit is something that most of the Japanese people have. The most Japanese people very get used to study for the test, and then get used to trying to understand by translating in their head. And this is something that one of the reasons why Japanese can't speak English, because we are too much used to trying to understand English by translating into Japanese language, or other way, trying to translate Japanese into English and then trying to speak. I think that if we become an English speaker, if we want to be an English speaker, as a Japanese person, we need to kick this habit, kick this old habit of trying to understand English, by translating in our head. What I am wishing for is that more Japanese English learners, actually become an English speaker. Because so many people just give up on it and give up on becoming an English speaker, because a lot of people tends to study for the test, and then study for the test, it is tough, right? And then you have to memorize a lot of things, and then even though you are trying real hard, a lot of time that you cannot feel the achievement you're making, because you are not trying to speak, communicate with other people, so you don't know what it's learning. And also that because you are basically most of the time you are trying to do is trying to understand English, with the Japanese language, Japanese translation. And then like when you're trying to memorize English, English words, usually you would use that English Japanese definition, right? So that is why you just keep on, you keep on, trying to understand the English, by the translation. So you just can't kick that old habit, and you cannot feel any achievement on the speaking skill. So a lot of people just quit, just give up on it, become an English speaker, and then move on to other things. So yeah, I truly believe that everyone can become an English speaker, and then only thing they need is just a different approach, right? So not just study for the test, but trying to become an English speaker and then trying to understand more and more, truly understand the basic English first, and then you can just move on to the next step. But this is very important. You have to train yourself first that you could understand your brain, or you could understand instantly, what they're saying in English, without any translation. That's your first step, I believe so. I truly believe that that's the only way you could become an English speaker, and then move on to the next step. Yes, so that's what I'm gonna say on this video, right? And then thank you very much for watching my YouTube video again. And then yes, I'm still learning, and then I'm trying to real hard so that I could become a more better, English speaker, so that I could, show my footsteps, so that I could encourage those people who is struggling to learn English, Japanese English learners who is struggling to learn English. Yes, you can make it if you just, try it, other way, just keep on trying, and you'll make it, someday. I'm sure about it. It's only language, English language. We learned Japanese, I think, well, in my opinion, Japanese is more difficult language to learn than English, I think. You just you need to just think other way, just you need is just a different approach. That's all I think. So yeah, thank you very much for watching my YouTube video, and I'm gonna see you on the next video, right? So thank you. Bye now.